Welcome back, everybody, to the Nerdcore Podcast. The podcast reviews movies and talks that nerd shit. This is episode 593, and it is your review of Christopher Nolan's The Prestige. As always, it is me, the Nerd Chicano, here to host the show alongside my wonderful co-host, Brad Young Yoda.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a wonderful Monday,
It's Monday night. It
July
is
3rd.
July 3rd. This is actually going up on July 4th, but yeah. Uh,
Give you
it's
something to
it's
do during the holiday.
yep, bright and not bright and early. I'm sorry, we're doing this at night. Yeah, what's it called? We're reviewing this early and live for our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/slash the nerdcore. You can get this episode live and early before anybody else gets to it by clicking the link in the description that says patreon.com/slash the nerdcore or checking us out there and pledging to the dollar tier. That's all you gotta do, and you get this episode early and live. But before we get into any of the reviews or any of that wonderful stuff, Brad, how are you doing today?
Doing good, Roll. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Nah.
No, that's good, man. I I went to work today. Tomorrow I did my extra hours, so that way tomorrow I can technically get paid for tomorrow.
Yeah. There you go. That's the way
Yeah.
to do it.
So I watched The Prestige in the morning, and I was gonna watch Boys in the Hood, for an episode I am doing with RB3 for the cinema
Oh,
condition.
very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
That'll be a good one.
yeah, and I couldn't find it in my hard drive.
Oh, shit.
I'm sorry. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Well, whatever. I couldn't find it. Where it needed to be
Hey, you couldn't
streamed from.
find it when you bought it and you put a
Yeah, when I
copy of
bought
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I found it later. But Rachel stopped by after to hang out while I worked, and they brought their. They picked up. Well, not they didn't pick it up. I bought Petite Maman for them
Mm.
for their birthday, and we watched Life. My Life as a Zucchini because it's
My
one of
life
the
is a
special
zucchini.
features. Yeah,
Wow.
Celine Sciamma wrote that film. And they have it in the supplements. So watched that, and I was like, oh shit, Came back home. They were watching Time Bandits with a friend, and I was watching The Idol. And now I was like, oh, I was supposed to get to the boys in the hood, but that didn't happen. Um, but that's all I've been up to today. To the dogs out too and all that. But it's been a long day. Um, but I got my hours done.
Always good.
Yeah.
Always good.
Yeah. Did you go to work today or did you have it off?
No, I went to work. I did leave a little bit early,
Okay.
but I left like 2 hours early. But yeah, I did go to work today.
Sounds good. Yeah. The streets were really like alone this week this morning, so
Yeah.
no
They
traffic. I
they
was like,
were like
I was like,
I
oh
think everybody just took the day off. They're like, yeah, we're gonna have the long weekend, long
yeah,
weekend.
yeah. Tomorrow's gonna be yeah. No, I don't even plan to get out of here out of this room. I mean,
I'm
out
not
of
even
this
leaving the house.
apartment. Yeah, shit's
I'm
gonna be
gonna
like packed.
I'm gonna be smoking some mac and cheese and some bratwurst. That's my plan for the day.
Yep. But yeah, it was good to be able to just go there. I did I this weekend I forgot to tell you I did get to go see Past Lives. I got to watch that in the theaters. No, I
Very
like
cool.
that a lot. But other than that, like not much else to report, man. Yeah. We're doing our second Christopher Nolan month because we are celebrating the release of Oppenheimer this week. I mean this month. And of course, we are also celebrating the release of Gerwig's Barbie this month as well by looking at her films on the extra reviews. But because Greta Gerwig has only directed 3 films that are available to watch, we had to mix them up and we had to put like some of her acting films, not her
Yeah.
directing. And yeah, so if you are interested in what we are going to be doing with that, that means we are going to be doing our commentary for one of her films, and we're going to be looking at Frances Ha from her husband Noah Baumbach. So we're going to be watching that movie for our commentary, and then our mini pod is going to be also available on the Patreon. All of that is going to be at the $5 tier at patreon.com/nerdcore. But yeah, that's the plan for this month. I think it's gonna be fun, Brad. We're
Yeah.
gonna be able to finish up with Nolan's filmography, and
For the
just
most part.
needing one movie.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, she's gonna need Nuketown, right?
The who what?
Nuketown, bro.
Oh, Nuketown.
That's what Luis calls it.
How to get your cast and crew to build a nuke.
Yep, yep.
There's
I'm
gonna be a documentary of that fucking movie made probably behind the scenes.
I'm ready to see how the hell he does this, bro. I really am. But yeah. Without further ado, I think we should just get into the Prestige here. So if you have not watched the Prestige, you should probably get out of here if you care about spoilers. But if you don't care about spoilers or you've already seen the film, go ahead and stay. Either way, how any of that goes, this is your one and only spoiler warning, and it is in effect in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go ahead and read from Wikipedia here. The Prestige is a 2006 psychological thriller film directed by Christopher Nolan, written by Nolan and his brother Jonathan, and based on the 1995 novel by Christopher Priest. It stars Hugh Jackman as Robert Angier and Christian Bale as Alfred Borden, rival stage magicians in Victorian London who feud over a perfect teleportation trick. The cast also features Scarlett Johansson, Michael Caine, Piper Perabo, Andy Serkis, Rebecca Hall, and David Bowie as Nikola Tesla. The film reunites Nolan with actors Bale and Caine from Batman Begins and returning cinematographer Wally Feister, and production designer Nathan Crowley and editor Lee Smith. The Prestige was released on October 20th, 2006. To positive reviews and grossed 109 million worldwide against a production budget of 40 million. It received Academy Award nominations for Best Art Direction and Best Cinematography. So the film sits at. I'm sorry. The music is done by David Julian, and it sits at 2 hours and 10 minutes. And of course, I already told you on a budget of 40 million, it made 109.7 million dollars at the box
That would
office.
make it a success.
Yes, yeah, it would be almost like it's profit. It made profit back,
Yeah.
but you if it would have made 120 mil, it would have been right there at it. But yeah, I had never seen this movie before. Brad has watched it before, um, and this is probably your second time, not right?
Second.
Yeah, yeah. But I
What's
was,
bad is I totally forgot the ending of this, so I was surprised.
yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with this movie, man. I think that this is one of the most underrated works from Christopher Nolan. It's also really nice to always see this early work from Christopher Nolan, where like he hasn't completely like delved into that style that he created with like what going into like the Dark Knight and all that stuff, and past the Dark Knight, you really do see that certain visual style that he has. But when you see, Memento, The Prestige, Insomnia, and all those other films, you like, oh, like that's early Christopher Nolan. Like he used to just, he used to film on film like this, and it's really interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, I like this movie. I really like the story, and I think it was really underrated. I think that Hugh Jackman does an incredible job in this film. Brad, what are your initial thoughts on The Prestige?
I love this movie. Absolutely. Even after the second watch. Like I said, I totally forgot what the ending was from the first watching it. So I was completely fucking surprised at the end too. I'm like, oh, that happened.
Yeah,
Jackman and Bale put on a fucking clinic in this. You actually think these two guys hate each other.
pretty bad, man. Yeah,
This is yeah, it's basically war between two magicians, and it's kind of dope.
I
Um
I had I had no idea what this movie was about, Brad, and I was like, wait, it's about magicians?
mhm. It's a little goes in a little more than that. Yes, they're magicians, but it's a whole
Yeah,
nother sense of things behind that, of the wife dying and then
yeah,
cutting the fingers off and yada yada, on and on. It just spirals out of control. It's a revenge film on what happens with revenge. That's really what it is. I really enjoy this film probably a lot more than Nolan's recent stuff, like a Tenet or Inception, because it has those twists and turns that Nolan's well known for, but it's not convoluted as fuck. Like Tenet goes to a place of where I don't know what the fuck's going on. And this, like, I can follow this. Like, okay, shit, yeah, all right. So if that was a twin, cool,
Yeah.
makes perfect fucking sense. So to me, I mean, I think this is one of Nolan's best. I think the score helps with it. Michael Caine is in it. Scarlett Johansson. They Scarlett Johansson kind of barely in the film, but she does what needs to be
Yeah.
done. Michael Caine is great in the film as kind of the mentor to both of them. Overall, like I said, it's about Jackman and Bell putting on a clinic of masterful acting, and they do it with a great story that Nolan wrote. And yeah, I liked
Yeah.
it.
I just it's like it's so interesting to look at this, Brad, because you're like I'm thinking like, dude, he's working in this on this in between fucking Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Like, you just think about that for a
That's a lot of
second.
work.
Yeah. Um. This is
Although,
it's
I'm guessing this is like a palate cleanser when you're working on a Batman film. You're like, the last thing I want to do is work on a fucking Batman film, so I'm going to do a little palate cleanser so I can come back to it. And this is the palate cleanser. But just so happens this palate cleanser is very well done, and that's why most people probably may not know about this film is because it was between his two Batman films.
yeah. Well, it looks like according to the production history of this, it looks like he was supposed to direct this. He was planning to direct this before Batman Begins, but because the production accelerated pretty fast for Batman Begins,
Oh yeah,
he
I'm
kind
sure
of
the
got
studio
lost in
was like,
there.
"You're going to make this.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
If you
But
make this, if you make these two, you can make this one. That's fine."
well, I'm kind of glad that that's what happened because like I don't know if I can picture anybody else but Christian Bale in this and Hugh Jackman. Like
I
this,
want to
they're
see
so
them
good in
more
this
on
film.
screen now. Like they aren't together enough on screen, but they're just freaking masterful at just hating each other.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's what I really like about this movie is that like at first it's kind of slowish, and you're kind of like, well, what is Christopher Nolan cooking up here? Like I don't know what's going. Like they're magicians, like they hate each other, and then it just keeps going into it. And it's like
Well,
you see how Jackman
it's
becomes so obsessed with making sure that this guy understands that he took like a big part of his life from him.
okay. I'm going to put it down here. This movie's not slow. Roll, roll. You've made me watch fucking slow movies.
Bro, at first
Right?
it was kind of slow.
No. Right
Yes.
when no, it's a
Going
build up to when she's stuck in that fucking tank, and then it's from there on.
once you're out of the first act, like it ramps the fuck up, bro.
Nah. No,
Like
I
it's
don't call any part of that slow.
oh
I
my
think you're wrong.
god.
You've made me watch fucking slow movies where you go, oh, I thought it was a good pacing. No, this shit was not slow. So don't
It
listen to
was a
him.
bit. It was a
No.
bit slow to get to that second act. And then once you really ramp up in there and you like go full steam into the climax, it just never fucking lets go of you.
Then fucking Tesla shows up for some reason.
Yeah, played by David Bowie. Like,
And David Bowie's cat.
yeah, like oh my god. That's the part that like also like completely caught me off guard. I was like, wait, you're talking about like Nikolai Tesla in here. Like, what the hell? Like, you're also talking about like this. They keep wanting to one up each other. Like, okay, so oh, you have like this trick. Well, I'm gonna make the one about the bullet, the catching the
What
bullet.
did you catch the two comparisons of the two magicians who hate each other, and then you had Tesla and Ford in there?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then I was like, I'm telling you, he he's like, oh, I'm gonna do the bullet catching. And then he's like, no, he's starting to do one like a teleportation. Well, I'm gonna copy him and I'm gonna make a better teleportation. And then Hugh Jackman's was go character's like, well, I'm gonna go through fucking electricity and teleport.
I'm gonna actually make copies of myself
Yeah.
and
What?
then drown all of them. A hundred shows, 100 copies, and drown all. It's so fucking ridiculous the depths this man went just to fuck over
Yeah.
Christian Bell.
Like every single time, like he just tried to make sure like one even got just a slighter edge over the other. And
I, I,
boom, came
well,
in to
well,
fuck
here's
him
the
over.
thing. His wife got killed. Like I get that.
Yeah.
He blows the dude's hands off, and then he's like, "It's still not enough. So he steals his axe. Christian Bale's character comes back, fucks with him, and then he's just like, I'm going all the fucking way. I'm going to stay in this hotel until Tesla sees me and create some kind of, god awful machine that shouldn't exist,
Yeah.
and so I can get back at him. And I mean, craziness. Like,
And then Michael
you
Caine.
know, the last thing I'd be doing with that fucking machine, goddamn magic show. I'd be fucking putting gold bars in there. I'd just be fucking copying the shit out of it.
And then Michael Caine, Brad, was like freaking awesome, great in this movie too.
Yeah.
But he's
And
such
Michael
a
Caine had it figured out.
had
He's like,
one
it's a
hundred
twin.
percent. Yeah, yeah. He had it 100% figured out because like at first when he kills Anger, I was like, what? And then I remembered, oh, he has that one stunt double he used for the
Yeah.
teleport
Yeah,
trick,
which is what I like. I
and I
thought
was
that too.
completely okay, and I was satisfied. I was like, okay, cool. It's like this Anger that's about to come out, that's the real one because he killed the. And then the film takes like the second big twist, and he's like, nope, I have twins.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
It goes from, Hugh Jackman carries dying, you thinking that's his the actor double, and then, you know, Hugh Jackman appears back. He's like, no, Tesla built me a machine. I just make copies of myself, and then I drown them. And then it goes to, oh shit, the twin was the bearded dude all along. Why the fuck don't I remember that?
Yeah. And of course, like I really like Rebecca Hall in this as well. Scarlett Johansson is pretty good too, but Scarlett Johansson's role is pretty minimal compared
Pretty
to
minimal.
Rebecca Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
who's like
Andy Serkis was in this.
yeah, Andy Serkis was the one guy who was telling him about the teleportation.
Ah, yes, that's right.
Yeah,
Tesla's helper.
yeah, yeah. Which like I liked him in this movie too. Um, I gotta say the production design is fantastic, man. He really does take the setting of Victorian London and really like just goes it. Of course, this is Nolan we're talking about, man.
Nolan
This is the
just built
man who like
Victorian London probably and just left it in like fucking Arizona.
yeah, like this is Nolan we're talking about, man. Like this is the
Yeah.
guy who like researched extensively and he always tries to create his sets to look really accurate to where he's like, playing around in the film. And he really does get like a really, really good looking set and he does a
Though
really good job at bringing that out.
although budget wise for Nolan, this is a very small budget.
This is medium budget Nolan, bro.
Yeah.
Like this isn't anywhere near being like the big budget that he'd
This
get
isn't no
like
Inception, no Tenet.
no, no. And like that's the part that like really like trips me out because like dude, he's able to do so much with so little here. Like you're thinking about it, Brent. $40 million, like that's about the same amount that the Joker got.
Yeah.
And you're just
And Joker didn't have to have a whole Tesla machine that I'm pretty sure fucking Nolan built.
100%, Brent. You want to put it past him?
No.
Yeah, like I'm looking at it here. Like what's it called? Memento cost how much? Memento cost 5 to 9 million. Well, that's just like his second
Yeah,
film he ever
that was like
made.
a second. And Memento was actually very minimalist if you think about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was
Yeah.
basically in a hotel room and a dude with tattoos.
Yeah. Insomnia, the one with Al Pacino, cost 46.
Yeah. Well,
And then
that's Pacino.
Batman Begins cost 150. Yeah, so like this 100% was like, oh look, I just had a massive success with my Dark Knight film. I mean, with my Batman film. Like, let me go ahead and take a little bit of this, and I really want to finally put this passion project I've been doing for a while that I've been trying to write and get to work on. And he's like, oh well, I already have Bale, and he's like, Bale's like really good. We already developed a really good friendship. Might as well put it to make this film. And I think it works out well for him, man. Uh, Wally Feister's cinematography is fantastic. I love that scene when they're in the field with all the different light bulbs. Just like that's literally the only source of light hitting them, and just looks beautiful, beautiful.
Agreed. Sorry, I was reading Roger Ebert's.
What did Roger Ebert have to say?
Well, it's on the Wikipedia. So Roger Ebert gave the film 3 stars out of 4, describing the revelation at the end as a fundamental flaw and a cheat. He wrote, "The pledge of Nolan's The Prestige is that the film, having been metaphorically sawed in two, will be restored. It fails when it cheats, as, for example, if the whole woman produced on the stage were not the same one, so unfortunately cut in two."
I don't know if I would call it a cheat.
I want to
I
call it
think
cheat. I call it a fucking twist after twist. I call it the third twist.
Yeah, because I think that it's like really like what's it called necessary for you to like show it because like people are still gonna be saying like oh no I'm probably talking about like the stun double and it's like no like here
Well,
it is.
it's just like the scene with the bird when the bird is smashed
Yeah,
and the living bird is there. That's what it basically is. And the I mean, one Bell, one of the brothers, is hung,
yeah,
but the other one comes back and is shown to be live. So I don't see where Roger Ebert saying that it wasn't restored because that was literally the trick.
yeah. I know that was a trick, and I love the monologue at the end from Michael Caine. It's like you kind of have to show them because eventually they're not gonna believe and
Yeah.
then you just go there and it's like oh it's one of the twins, one of the
Yeah.
brothers is right there.
Yeah. So Michael Caine had it called the whole time. It's just Hugh Jackman didn't want to see it because it was too simple.
Yeah, it was too simple. But God, like I said, I really like this movie. I really do want to buy this movie now, physical. It does have a 4K out for it,
4K
so
probably. Actually, I think I watched it in 4K. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay, shit, must look good. So, but yeah, man, like I said, I really like this. I think this is actually one of like I said, one of Nolan's most underrated works, man. I think that this is probably one of his best. And yeah, first time watch, I really enjoyed it, man. What about you, Brad? Any final thoughts here on the Prestige?
Second time watch, it didn't get worse. I think it got maybe a little better considering. I forget when I watched it was years ago, so I didn't remember the ending, which kind of helped.
Yeah. I was like, I've seen a lot of movies after that. I'm
Yeah.
pretty.
So yeah, when I mean, because I remember, I kind of remember the Hugh Jackman part with the daughter and all that, but I totally just spaced it that Christian Bale, it was his brother and shit.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give my final verdict. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the Prestige an 8.5 out of 10. I really like this movie. I don't. I think it's really good. And I think it's like on par with the rest of his filmography. But there's just other stuff that's higher than this. And even though Brad disagrees with me, I'm gonna go ahead and be like, go ahead and reiterate. I did think a little bit of that first act was pretty slow,
Nope.
and but once it really grabs the attention into the second act, it just doesn't stop. It just keeps going, and yeah, it doesn't ever get hard to follow. I think that the film does, even though it's
Right.
working with a lot of
It's a
like
Christopher Nolan film that's easier to follow. Go figure.
yeah, that's wild, right? Even this comes after Memento.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but Brad, what is your final verdict on the Prestige?
It's right up there with Interstellar for me, and Interstellar is probably my favorite. So, and I really enjoy this film. So, 10 out of 10.
All right, man. That concludes our review of Christopher Nolan's The Prestige. And of course, if you want to keep up to date with everything that we're doing over on our socials, make sure you can look at our website that literally just renewed today. And I was scared that I wasn't gonna have enough money. I was like, oh shit. I was like, good thing that we have the Patreon money as always. But check that out at 70, not thenerdcore.com. Check our Twitter out at the nerdcore underscore as long as that's still alive. Instagram at the nerdcore. Join our Patreon where you can get this episode early and live at the $1 tier over at patreon.com/nerdcore. And of course, if you want to talk about the films of Christopher Nolan or you want to just talk about the Prestige with us, you can go check out our Discord. It's in the description in the audio and video. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell so you don't miss a single piece of content that drops on the channel. If you're listening to this on the audio side of things, please leave a 5-star review on your Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, or Spotify app. Those are the only three that I know of at the moment that allow you to do that. So if any other app does let you, go ahead and do that, please. We will be back. Brad and I will be back during the week for our review of Lady Bird. But in the meantime, oh, I'm sorry. No, we'll be back during the week, but we also need to thank our patrons who are the wonderful people that make this possible, especially our producer Shane. Where can you find Brad? Where can you find him, Brad?
You can follow our friend Shane at twitch.tv/XSRK or on Twitter at thriftedil or go buy something from the Suppy God at PrisonCityVintage.com.
All right, and of course, now I can say it like, yeah, we'll be back during the week to do our review of Ladybird. But in the meantime, keep up to date with everything that we're doing on the channel. And of course, Brad, let's go ahead and send him out.
All right, Raul, thank you, host as always. Thank to all those who join us in chat, all our listeners out there, all our Patreon supporters. We appreciate each and every one of you. And to end this episode, be careful out there on July 4th. Don't blow off your fingers. Young Yoda out.
Don't go Jason Pierre-Paul on your finger.